Hello everyone, and welcome to Review of the Week. It's your host James, and welcome to the 15th of the 1st, 2018. We're a couple of weeks into 2018 now, and to me things aren't looking that great. The first thing I want to talk about is a headline I saw on the internet from InfoWars saying World War III looms over 2018 Winter Olympics. This is of course talking about South Korea allowing North Koreans to participate in the Winter Olympics this year in 2018. So we've seen in the past couple of weeks now, I'll just mention, envoys and ambassadors and things going over the border, over the demilitarized zone from North and South Korea. I'm not too sure what to say about it. I mean, I think it's good that they are in talks, in peace talks and whatnot. I don't think any military intervention is going to do anyone any good. Whether it's from Japan, South Korea, the East, or Donald Trump and us in the West here in the UK. So I think just getting people talking across the border and joining in things like this is decent. However, it wouldn't surprise me if North Korea drops some nukes on the games just for some ban. I mean, I can see what's his face, Kim Jong-un sitting there chuckling at his desk, pressing a big red button and blowing up a few thousand people. But anyway. Not too great, in my personal opinion. Moving on to the next story. Do you know the way memes have been exploding this past week? Obviously, Little Knuckles on the VR chat. It's pretty amusing.
You have to have Ebola to know the way.
Next story. The NHS pressures extreme for third year, Tories claim. That's according to a BBC article I've got up here. This was published 3 days ago. The NHS pressures extreme for a third year, or extreme for third of year sort of thing. It's not looking very well for the NHS at the moment, I must admit. Basically last week Theresa May had to sit down at a desk and basically choose to either keep the NHS as it is, with poor quality of care, but also not spending as much as was being spent, or you could increase spending. The way I see it is you've got a choice. You can obviously either just cut spending, keep spending the same amount, or increase spending. You can't increase spending because we're so much in debt that we just simply can't sustain it. And at the same time, if you don't increase spending, then the NHS is going to be absolutely trash. So it's a lose-lose situation. I think being in debt is better. I think being in debt is worse than having a decent NHS. So I'm just going to read out a little quote I saw on a meme. I did some digging. It does sound out to be true. This is true for America, but it gives you an idea of the spending that the West has been at for the past few years now. 1 billion seconds ago, it was 1959. 1 billion minutes ago, Jesus was alive. Of course, if you believe in that thing. 1 billion hours ago, our ancestors were living in the Stone Age. 1 billion days ago, no one walked on the earth on 2 feet. $1 billion ago was 8 hours and 20 minutes at the current rate of government spending. I think that sums up the entire situation here. So much is being spent, and from what I can see, it's being wasted on the NHS. Obviously, it's an essential service that the people of the UK rely on, but at the same time, it doesn't work. It's like having a TV which has a massive stone in the centre of the screen, so you can't really see what's going on. Like, it's great that you have it and it's useful to watch from like now and again, but it's useless because it doesn't serve the function that it's there for. Taxes are high at the moment. They were higher a few years ago, and I was told today by someone who will remain nameless that the only way to fix the NHS was to increase taxes. Well, there's two problems there. One, increase in taxes isn't going to do anything because the rich are highly taxed enough at the moment anyway, and if you increase taxes across the board, the amount of money that's going to be raised is next to nil if you increase taxes a few percent. So that's obviously just not a good idea. Welsh hospitals in particular are being faced with the highest state of pressure for almost a third of a year on average. So 1/3 of the year, I suppose this is last year, or like the last 12 months, it's been officially at the highest rate of pressure that it can take. So you've got patients dying in hospital corridors, and things. You hear stories like that all the time, and it obviously isn't great. But what can you do? Well, I've got the answer. Privatise parts of the NHS. So, for example, if you break your leg and you go in and get a cast and maybe some painkillers, or you have an X-ray or whatnot, you should pay for it. I've been abroad. I've broken limbs abroad 3 times now. The most recent time I was in Switzerland, I tore the cartilage in my knee. Obviously, we claimed on the insurance, like the travel insurance for that. But let's say I didn't, it would have cost around 500 francs for the X-ray, the cast, and the anti-inflammatory medicine to go with it. Which I will point out was a plant extract, which I specifically asked for because I'm not taking any of that ibuprofen trash. And if we didn't have insurance, my parents would have been absolutely fine to pay for that because it's my own stupid fault. Going down a ski slope and just crashing like a moron isn't too great. So I wouldn't. So if someone rocked up in this country and did that, or even if they're even if they're British, like I'm not saying it's the same for everyone. If you do something stupid to yourself, yeah, the NHS is there as a service, but you should definitely pay for it, and that would save so much money. The NHS would be out of problems in months if they did that. Obviously, if you've got a terminal illness or you need medicine due to whatever, then fair enough. That's what it's there for. But it isn't there if you smoke yourself to get lung cancer, or you eat yourself to get diabetes for medicine or treatment. It's outrageous, and no one should have to pay for that, whether British or not British. It makes no difference. No one should have to pay for that. It's their own stupid fault. They can pay for it themselves. Anyway, yeah, that's my opinion on that. If you wanted to know, just to recap on that, the NHS isn't doing too great. It doesn't affect me because I don't use it. It doesn't affect my parents who don't use it that often. But I can tell you, in some places it is bad, and there's so far not much is being done. A lot is said is being done. Of course, that's Theresa May's biggest party trick, saying that everything's being done, and nothing's being done whatsoever. Anyway, if we just take a look at the InfoWars front page, 12,000 flee as Philippines volcano crater glows red hot. So we've got a dangerous radius around the Philippines at the moment. This news came out a few hours ago. Obviously that's not great. But that's life. These things happen. You just got to adapt and overcome. Now here's a couple of stories that go together, which I really do find interesting. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, I think, has come out and said, we want Facebook to go back to the family connection side of things instead of like a corporate advertising platform, which is good. At the same time, social media is just not worth anyone's while, in my humble opinion. It doesn't do a great job in society, and probably at the bottom of the list of things it does do is bring people together. So I think Mark Zuckerberg's done a good job for coming out and saying that, but it's not enough. On that social media side of things, the CIA has asked Moby to spread word of Trump-Russia collusion on social media. Moby, the well-known artist, music artist that is, he's quite famous for doing the Jason Bourne music, that song. Moby said he's made friends with a few active and former CIA agents over the years, who told him they were concerned that Trump was essentially being run as a Russian agent. It's these sort of things that just show Twitter's true colours here. I mean, I'm looking at a story, and it was these guys at InfoWars who have gone into the company as employees, if you like. And they've just the stuff they found out is incredible. Twitter has been censoring the news for the best part of 6 months, and they've been censoring right-wing news for the best part of 6 months, and they've been censoring news for God knows how long. And that's the thing. I mean, if you want to use Twitter, that's fine by me. Do what you want, but to use Twitter and to put news on there, or use it as a business, or use it as, just talking to your friends, or talking to spreading whatever message you want to spread. I think the fact that you can't go on Twitter and just send a message without it being censored, distributed, and essentially have a filter on it isn't great. Now, obviously, social media have got their part to do on radicalization and things like that, but at the same time, if you just have a company which is used by millions and millions on Twitter, they aren't regulated. They aren't, it's not a real viable business that you can just say, oh yeah, my name's James, I do this podcast, go check me out, here's my Twitter page, you can read. That's not what happens. That the people at Twitter can manipulate, they can restrict, they can advise data go into certain devices, and it's not a free platform anymore. It's just like turning up at the House of Commons and saying, oh yeah, I've got a bomb strapped to my chest, do you want to just let me through? I just want to use the loo, I need straight back out. That it sounds a bit silly, but that's exactly what's going on. That you've got people you've got a bunch of psychopaths on there who are being allowed to spread their message, but at the same time, if I want to relay a headline from InfoWars, that's also going to be censored in the same way, and there's a problem there, because it's not free press, it's not free speech. Our human rights are being denied by, one, our information being under surveillance, and two, our right to expression has been infringed there. So InfoWars, as I was saying, have used hidden cameras to capture hundreds of Twitter employees spying on everything we do. I'm going to read a quick extract from the article here. Project Veritas has released undercover footage of Twitter engineers and employees admitting that Twitter employees view all of your private messages on their servers to analyse it and create your virtual profile of you, which they sell to advertisers. Now, this isn't surprising, this has been known for months. Anytime you're on the internet, your data is collected and that's being sold. That's how it works. Whether you like it or not, you've got no say in the matter. So anything that you do on the internet is stored as information on you as like a little virtual profile, and that can be sold to anyone. So this is why I've been saying for a while, the government, it's obviously not just the government, you've got all the globalists as well, who are at the spearhead of the operation. My phone, my TV, my phone's on my desk in front of me, I'm looking at the TV now. For all I know, Samsung and Apple and whatnot, they are allowed to use these devices to collect any data they want. And when they collect data, it's probably happening right now. To any of you listening on whatever device, it's happening right now. That information is going to be sold to Facebook, Twitter, Google, Amazon for a high price. So your data is being used without your permission to be sold. Is the point I'm trying to get across here, and that's the globalist agenda for you. All they want to do is collect as much data as possible on everyone, mass surveillance, bombard you with radiation, make you as stupid as they can, and then control you just like some crazy plan from James Bond, world domination and whatnot. It sounds silly, but once you look at all the stories in conjunction, it makes perfect sense. It's crazy. So I think that's going to be the end of the episode this week. Quite a lot has happened, and I haven't got time to discuss all of it all the time. However, if you do have any suggestions, or you want to email me or ask me questions on whatever, or you want me to talk about a specific story or topic next week, send me an email at reviewoftheweekpodcast@gmail.com. I'll try and answer that as quickly as possible. And I'm also happy for any feedback as well. Leave a comment and a like on the podcast if you can. It all helps. I'll see you next week, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Peace.